Hey, we are live. Yes. Happy Mother's Day to everyone here on a Friday night. Happy Mother's Day for everyone that's about to get ready to have time with their babies, snuggle up, cuddle, get kisses willingly from their babies because that's what I want for Mother's Day. And here I have lovely women who are mothers who just happen to be entrepreneurs, who also happen to be live streamers. So let me introduce you. Tanya Smith, Zakia Ringo, Anka. Did I say it right? Anka?
You did, totally.
Struggle.
Nailed it.
And Rachel Hall. Yes. Okay. Thank you all for being here, especially so close today. I know people are having plans for us. And off the bat, I got to ask you, what are you going to do? What's the first thing you're going to do for Mother's Day?
Well, I can jump on that really quick. But first off, I just want to wish a very happy Mother's Day to all the women that are listening and to all the women in my life, every single one of them that have given me, oh gosh, endless love, guidance, and support. You are amazing, and I'm grateful for every single one of you. What am I going to do? I'm going to rest. I just shared a minute earlier that I signed up literally impromptu for a marathon. Well, I'm only going to do the half, and that's going to be Saturday, the day before Mother's Day. So obviously, after that, the one thing I can hope for is rest. So that's my big plan. Although my husband said that he's got a reservation to some restaurant. So we'll see if we're going to make it, if my legs carry me. But that's the big plan for me.
I love it. I can share next. I'm really excited for Mother's Day, and I want to wish everyone too, because it's such a special, weekend. And even if you're watching this and maybe you're not, an actual mother, you're still a role model as a woman. So just don't forget that. No matter where you find yourself, on Sunday, you're still amazing and an influencer for sure, and people around you. But my mom is actually 91 years old. So she had me really later in life. And so I'm going to spend as much time as I can with her on Sunday, because every second is precious with her. So every minute I can kind of soak up around her, I'm just enjoying it, because with her age and just how life is going for her right now, I just know every second's valuable for sure.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Who's next? Tanya or Zakia?
Here, I'll go ahead and go and just say I'm probably going to do a little bit of relaxing if I can. At least that's the goal. I'm told that I don't know how to. so I probably will get a little work in, but my goal is to probably find something that I can watch and just chill. I don't want to cook. I don't want to do anything that I would normally do, but it just doesn't always work out that way. My husband is typically overseas, and he is right now. So it's just me and my girls. I'm assuming my daughter will come home from college and hang out with us. Otherwise, it's going to be me and my 15-year-old freshman in high school. Woo! But yeah, we're going to have fun either way. We always do together. So I have no plans other than to just try to take a little bit of a breather and then enjoy being around my girls.
That's nice.
And
Okay, Zakia, how about you?
I'm bringing up the rear with more rest for sure. I will probably go and see my mother, my grandmother, and my aunt. That's like my support tribe anyway. So I want to make sure that I do get a chance to see them. But other than that, I will be on the couch, enjoying the couch.
Sounds nice also. Well, Tanya, since I have you here front and center, could you tell us about your business and how'd you get into live streaming?
Sure. I actually have been in business for myself for over a decade and a half doing coaching, but it's been coaching of various kinds. So I started out with career coaching because I thought that's what I was supposed to do, coming from a corporate HR background, and I hated it. So I ended up moving into other different types of forms of coaching and found that my skill set was in the digital space. Like I was doing a lot with technology and working with entrepreneurs all over the world. And only recently, within the past 2.5, maybe 3 years now, I decided actually live streaming saved me and saved my business because I was making a decision to either just get out of business altogether. It was becoming super competitive, and there were a lot of things happening from a family standpoint that were just not working well. And I decided, hey, I keep hearing about this live stream thing. The social profiles and platforms are saying use it and we'll boost you. So I made a decision to try it, and I tested it out by going live once a week, every week for an entire year. That was my commitment. And out of that was born my Stream Like a Boss TV show. And I work with primarily women service providers, helping them to really embrace their face on camera and to do more live streaming so that they can stand out online. So that's my
I like
story.
that. It's nice. Okay, Zakia, you're up
Same
again. I'm going to try
question.
to have you front and center.
I'm there. All right. So I got started in 2015, very similar to Tanya, where I came from the corporate space. I had no idea that I was going to be a business owner. I was actually trying to learn live streaming to take it back into the corporate space because I would see people would absolutely drool over the training. Whereas in corporate America, you tell people they have to come to training and they'd rather take the day off, right? So that didn't necessarily work. There's a lot of red tape, but in all of that, I actually started live streaming my hobby of soap making with my daughters right next to me. One was 1, the other was 10. And so we built a tribe of people. And then when the pandemic hit, I was able to do a bit of a pivot and start doing virtual events. I produced the first virtual soap summit where we had 300 attendees who were trying to figure out how to bring their business online. And I was only online. I wasn't doing craft shows and all of that. And so we had 15 speakers from all over, like April of 2020. So when most people were figuring out what this pivot was, we were in a full blown pivot, which allowed me to transition to producing virtual conferences for libraries, universities, and nonprofits. And now the latest foray is Business Tech Lab, where I'm teaching people the technology tools for bringing their business online. That's the shortest version of that I could give you, Erica.
I know you do so much, so to have you condense it down and it still be like wow for me, yeah, I'm glad you said it. Okay, Ray, you ready?
Yep, I'm ready. So,
Okay.
I have been in business for myself for over 26 years. So I started in 1997. So, and it's crazy because we're celebrating Mother's Day, but I started as a brand new mom in the beauty industry, is my background. And I was looking for something to do at home as a mom and started my own in-home business. And how I started using OneStream is, of course, during the pandemic, everything went virtual. We had to make a quick, shift. And someone told me about OneStream. And now, as a mom to 5, I went from 1 to 5 and a single mom. I'm able to use, OneStream to just make my life easier as a single mom. So it's really funny. I was actually at a baseball game Wednesday, and somebody pulled up their phone and they're like, "Wait, I thought you're doing a live." And I'm like, "Well, I am, but it was recorded." So, hey, so I love that I can multitask and use a platform like this to be literally every place I need to be as a businesswoman and a mom. So, I love it. And I love to teach other people now too. You don't have to compromise one thing to have another. You can have both.
Like that. Especially when you got pre-recorded videos going, you can still go out and do things and still be live at the same time. It's like, yes.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, Anka.
I love that. I mean, I love those stories. I think my first live stream actually was for my wedding 14 years ago because my family was still in Europe and they couldn't get the visas, and I needed to figure out a solution to get them somehow to join this special day. And that was way back in the days. Again, 14 years ago sounds like a long time ago, but I think it wasn't necessarily a serious thing for me until much later, as I am producing events. I am a event producer by choice, and I started my own business just the same way, almost like Rachel, where I'm like, I was working for so many other people, and I'm like, why am I doing all of those things for others when I could be doing it for myself? And when I had my second child, I felt like it was my second chance to have a time and to be autonomous regardless of somebody else's schedule, so I can make my own schedule. Because for me, I felt like the first time around I didn't get a chance to actually enjoy my baby. I went back to work 2 weeks after a C-section, and I kept grinding. And I started my own business. And then because I'm quite technical, actually hands-on in a lot of event production roles, I wanted to do something that I can also work from home and not travel so much for events where your presence is needed. So that's how I started. I think the first thing that I started live streaming was my podcast. I was like, let me just like, it's safe, and if I mess up, like, nobody has to freak out, because I'm not paid for it. In the beginning, that wasn't a monetary income or any. It was just a fun thing, a project, but it grew to be something more. And that's when now I'm producing several podcasts for several clients. And then I'm producing actually shows, virtual shows. I have a series of events that I do on the weekly for all types of organizations, all the way from like large organizations like Nike and Adidas and Women in Sports, to just smaller one-offs events that I can produce from my own office. And I also get to also travel for events, because again, because of my audiovisual production background, I get, to be the technical director for a lot of events that involve a lot of heavy production. But I have the option to always say no and choose to work from home when I stream events. And believe it or not, streaming events, even for large organizations, corporations, educational sessions, conferences, it's still a thing. Because, when the pandemic sort of went away, we were like, are we ever going to have virtual events again? And I'm like, yeah, they're well and thriving, trust me. And it's still a very good stream of income for anyone that wants to start in that direction. And another passion of mine is to actually educate women. And I have a community of women. It's called Women in Events, women behind the scenes in events, actually, in technology and production. And we basically exchange tips and contacts and jobs and shows. And like, basically, it's this community that we have that's grown from the pandemic. And it's supporting each other to just get more business and thrive in this into this new industry. And now AI tools. I'm actually teaching a lot of business owners how to integrate AI tools into their workflow, so that they're really even more productive and can automate a lot of tasks that before you just had to do them. Because again, I do a lot of things and I just burn myself out if I don't have help and support. And using all the tools at hand, it's the best way to actually find that time that you can actually allocate to other things, like spending time with your kids.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, I got into virtual events because I also host events. Well, I got into live streaming because I host events. And I thought live streaming would be a way to get my name, my brand out, to let people know this is what I do, this is how virtual events can help you. And a quick, easy way to do that, I thought, would be live streaming. I'm a big Gary Vaynerchuk fan, and he says, you should live stream and be omnipresent. And I'm like, what? And then I saw One Stream Live. I'm like, they can help me do that. So why not? So right now, One Stream Live is like my favorite distribution platform. So not only can I use it for live streaming, I also use it to tease events. I also use it for promotion to tease events. And I find it so easy, like how Rachel was saying earlier, make a pre-recorded video and send it out. So love it. Okay, so I gotta ask you guys, how do you balance the demands of running a business responsibilities as a mother? Anybody want to volunteer for that one? Because I just tell my husband, like, can you do this? So after I don't get me wrong, up at 6, we have to get the kids off to work at by 7:45. They have to have lunch. They have to be clean before they go to work. They have to have clean clothes. I have to feed them. I do all that. But other than that, I have to give them to my husband, and he has everything else because I can't. So, how do you guys take care of your business, your family at the same time? Who wants to volunteer and go first for that one?
I can jump in. I think the whole idea of balance is an illusion, to be honest. There is no true balance to it all. I still suffer from mommy guilt every now and then where it's you could have been doing this or you could have been doing that, but I do have a structure that we ensure that we have our quality time on specific days and specific times. Every night, 8 o'clock, everything shuts down and we get things done. Even if that's just sitting down and eating. But there are times where, hey, I have to do this project in order to pay that tuition or in order to do said thing. So I don't want to come off as if, oh, I have this thing figured out. It is always a constant balancing act where something is coming off for something else to go on. And then just being honest with myself on, did I do the things that I said I was going to do? And then giving myself a little bit of grace when I don't necessarily hit all of those points.
Absolutely. I
Amen.
love the illusion of balance. I like to call it integration. I have not been able to find balance myself. So it's integration. That's what I like to call it because, running a business, but then also doing projects like podcasting and then producing other podcasts and then traveling for events. I think the biggest challenge for me is when I have to be out of the home. And I mean, 2 weeks at a time sometimes. Like I am gone from event to event to event. And if I didn't have, honestly, my husband to pull some of that weight of, uh, taking care of the kids, I don't even know if I would have the opportunity to do some of the things that I do. So having a support system, because it's just me and him, we don't really have family around here. They're all in Europe. We have to rely heavily on each other to be able to fill in and make space for each other to also then get some self-care time, because if if you don't allow for that, you just burn yourself out eventually. So and also prioritizing, huge on scheduling. I mean, I schedule my calendar like it's my last wishing like will. Basically, I schedule my lunch, I schedule my breaks, I schedule my walks, my workouts, my sleep, my naps, my everything. Like everything is on that. And if there's no room for it for something else, then I have to make a choice, prioritize what's most important to me right now. Is it my workout, or is it taking this, onboarding this client? And sometimes, let me tell you, I will pick the workout because it's in my interest to feel good and have my mental and physical wellness done, then onboard somebody else. I have made that choice before where I said no because this is more important to me. So prioritizing that, because I know that if I cannot feel and be fully energized to give, I won't serve anyone any favor by just burning myself out. So those are just a few of my strategies. But again, I don't have, 100 kids. My mom had 10. I don't know how she did it. I am doing the best I can with what I have. And like it was said before, grace. Just giving myself grace and know that if I stack enough good habits on top of each other, then I can look back and say, this was a well lived life and I did a good job. I can pat myself on the back. But I also allow myself for, the times when I don't and I fail and I learn lessons the hard way. So
Right, that makes sense. Um, Rachel or Tanya,
Yeah, I
you
can
guys
share.
have any? Okay.
Yeah, I was just thinking, and I love everything that everyone shared. You guys are giving me some good ideas, but I always get my kids involved in a goal. So if I'm working on something, I make sure they know what's in it for them. So not only do I have this goal for my business and what we're working for as like a business with my team, but also like we're going to do this. When we achieve this, I'm taking you guys, on a trip, or, you're going to be able to go golfing. You're going to, my son plays on a travel baseball team. So getting them enrolled in your goal. So it's not just, they're thinking, oh, mom has to leave again, but they're like, mom, go and leave. Like, I want to do this. Like, please go work your business. So letting your kids know what the goal is and what's in it for them. And then just realizing too, I always tell people the phrase like, more is caught than taught. So know when you're with your kids that you're showing them by your actions, how to become better, and just things that just telling them it's not going to hit home. But when they see you doing things, when they see you even fail and have success, they're learning things. So I want you to know that, as that get kids involved in your mission, in your goal, and know that they're watching everything, and that they're going to remember that. My kids that are older, that have seen me build this business and then rebuild it, there's so many things that have spilled over into their lives as adults that they learned, I know, from watching me do my business. So, just keep strong, mamas out there. It's so worth it.
Yeah, I believe that too.
I
So
think
what you got, Tanya?
they've said everything. They gave you the whole formula. Everything I would have said, they just said it. No, I'll add this piece because I think that I took away a little bit from each and every one of you ladies that just spoke and talked about your children. We all, I think, have children of different ages. For me, it's been kind of an interesting ride, an interesting journey, because most of the time, as I mentioned earlier, my husband is overseas. So it's me. It's me for really managing three households because we have one child that's actually in college. We have two daughters. One thing I didn't realize when I started doing live streaming is that as an introvert, which all of us in my household are, sometimes it is scary. It's a little different to put yourself out there and not shy. I'm not shy at all. But as an introvert, we pull our energy from within, right? So we don't necessarily want to be in all these crowded spaces that oftentimes are touted as the place to be in order for you to succeed, right? So what I didn't realize is that my daughters were watching, just like Rachel said. I didn't realize how much they were checking things out as they were seeing me start to do live streaming and to put myself out there vulnerably on camera. And they were starting to hear some of the different stories and see me speaking. And, I was speaking on stage anyway. I was doing some things outside of the home that they couldn't see. But once I started doing live streaming video, they were hearing and absorbing all of the things that they were hearing me talk about. And they saw not only the wins and the times when I actually had an audience, but they saw when I started with nobody and it was crickets on the other end. And they heard when the woman came on to, someone got into my comments, y'all. And this was during a period where their dad, my husband, was going through colon cancer treatment. And sometimes you experience some of the things that your spouse or your partner is going through. And so I was having really bad skin problems. My hair was falling out. So I went to my stylist and I said, just cut it off. I don't even want to have to mess with it because it's patchy and it's not doing what it should. And so I get on camera to do a live stream, and this woman jumps into the chat and it's scrolling across the screen because at the time I didn't understand how to turn that off. I thought it was cool. Let's have all the comments scroll. And I didn't have any boundaries in place for that. And she said, and I guess she was trying to be insulting, if I were to look up a picture of unprofessional, your picture would be next to it. If I looked up the definition of unprofessional, your picture would be next to it. Because I had a pretty shaved, like it was a short, very crew cut haircut. And apparently this did not sit well with the person who was on the other side. And at the time, I remember feeling very small. And I remember thinking, I'm not going to let that impact me. But it really did. And for several months after that, I started wearing wigs on my live streams. My children saw me go through that whole process of going into this almost a depression phase, and this phase where I did not feel good about myself. And then they saw me win and come out of it and realize That's not your baggage. You just took somebody else's baggage on. And because they were able to see and to experience all the different emotions, they realized, look, no matter what happens, whatever you're going through, you can come out of it and you'll have a story to share with other people that will help to uplift them and transform them. And how do I know that this rubbed off on them? Because now I get to see them doing the same thing. Both of them have always said, I never want to do anything in media. They both are doing things. One of them is criminal justice major, yes, but she's also the media specialist for her university, which is hilarious. And the other one is also doing things with music, but she's also a media specialist. These same two girls who were like, no, I'd never do that. So I just love that all of us are talking about stories in which the work that we're doing is not just for us, it's also for our children and for different ways. In different ways, our children are going to be able to feel that impact and to take it with them. And that's what I love about this space.
It's really nice. It's a good lesson for all of us to learn, not to take on anybody else's baggage. I really like that. My son, who's 8 now, when he was 7, he saw me doing, he saw my YouTube channel, and he's like, there's not too many people subscribe. Are you asking people to like and subscribe your channel? Because you need to do that every time. He's like, can I help you with your YouTube channel? And I'm like, can you read? The only way you can help me is if you're able to read. So if we practice your reading and you can read, you can help me. So pulling that way has helped him read more. So and he's getting a little better. So yay for that. Um, I have one more question. Well, I have like 2 pages of questions, but we're going to get through what we can. How do you stay motivated and focused during the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and motherhood?
I can jump on that. First off, I just want to say, Tanya, that was such a powerful story. I mean, it just literally put my my skin was just like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Just to and also sometimes I wonder, like, why do us women do that to each other? Like, instead of supporting each other, like, why do we tear each other down? Like, I will never understand that. And I can go on a rant on just that, but I'm gonna contain myself and stay on topic here, answer the question, and no go don't go off, on a derail. There's this thing where part of my fitness journey and my mental journey that I went through, and there's an entire story that I have on that I'm not going to touch on today. I learned something powerful, and it has to do with, like dopamine levels, which is basically your brain's reward system. And many times when we go through things that don't always pan out, and the best way to, to really try to stay yourself motivated is to have your dopamine levels high. However, there's times when you don't necessarily have the reward that you're looking for, or the process is so hard and you just don't see the end, especially if you're in it. And that was part of my journey into bodybuilding, and it was a long journey, but it was grinding every single day. And sometimes I would wonder, like, am I on the right path? So I think when that happens, when we see that we're putting in the effort, we're putting in the work, we're grinding away, and we're staying consistent, and yet maybe the results are not there yet, you have to just remind yourself that you're on the right path. And that's when you're telling your brain, because your brain can tell the difference if you're like on this path, on that path, as long as you're talking to it like you were. So that increases your dopamine levels, which is the reward system of your brain telling you, okay, so what we're doing is great, like it's working. Then we're gonna keep releasing those endorphins and make ourselves feel good and stay motivated. Because the moment you start, like, questioning, am I even doing this? Am I is this the right thing that I'm doing? Am I on the right path? Am I going the right way? That's when you're going to start to self-doubt, and you're going to have problems with your confidence levels, and imposter syndrome is going to take over, and all the things that we struggle with, regardless, how hard we're trying not to. So for me, just re-emphasizing and reminding myself that I am on the right path, that I am going in the right direction, and I'm just gonna stay at it, stay consistent, and keep grinding is what keeps me motivated. Regardless if that's in business, even when sometimes I have a really good month and another month I have a month that's not so good, right? But just reminding myself I am doing this because I'm passionate about, because I'm on the right path. And then in my fitness journey, grinding away every single workout, every single rep that gets me closer to my goal, whatever goal it is that I put, myself towards, which in most cases is a competition. Yet it's just what keeps me motivated to just stay consistent, keep going, keep grinding away, and just don't lose that focus, which is basically your brain's reward system, that you're in the right place. Just keep at it.
Thank you, Anka. It was nice. Rachel, you got something to add?
Yeah, I just, one thing that I've done, and I've done this forever, is making my 6 most important things list before I go to bed at night. So making my list of what I'm going to do, first the next day to stay on my course and stay focused. And then it just kind of frees my mind to know that's how I'm going to start my day. And some days a lot of the things are the same, because I believe a routine will help you stay on the right track. And then also to realize you are not always going to feel motivated. I think it's really important that you realize that, there are days when I'll be honest, I don't want to do some of the things, but that's when your discipline steps in. So realizing that even though you may not feel motivated, have the discipline to do it anyways. Because sometimes when you start doing things, what happens is you get motivated, right? Something great happens and you're like, okay, like I'm all pumped up. So I think you just have to make the decision that you're going to do it anyways, even if you don't feel like it. Because once you start putting things in action, things are going to happen that's going to excite you and, make you want to do it. And I think, there's been times when I've had to jump in my car or record something, for, a live stream, and I was less than excited, you guys. But you know, when you make a plan and you stay committed to it, great things are going to happen. So, staying the course, even if you don't feel like it, you're going to see the results, still happen. And then making your list when you go to bed at night, so you know how you're going to tackle your day to get started.
Yeah. I have a saying, discipline gets you what you want. So, yeah, I believe that. Oh, Zakia or Tanya, you guys have anything to add to how do you stay motivated, focused during the ups and downs of entrepreneurship and motherhood?
I can share. I'll share this. I think, and once again, I'll mention the fact that I'm an introvert because maybe somebody out there is one too. I initially thought I could do everything by myself. I think a lot of us as moms and nurturers feel that way. We feel like, hey, it's me. I got to do it, so I'm going to get it done. What I've recognized over time, and as I mature, is that you need community. You need to be connected and surrounded by people who they may not necessarily know exactly what you do and how you do it and why you do it, but they support you and they encourage you. And so I love that we get a chance to be able to create through the power of live streaming. We get a chance to create a connection with other people who may or may not be like-minded necessarily, but we all understand each other enough to say, hey, you need a little sleep. My community the other day did that to me. They said, we feel like you're really exhausted today. And so we have a 2-hour co-working session that we do a couple of times a month. We had just done hour one. And at the end of hour one, I came back and said, hey, it's time to do a check-in. And they said, we're going to take it from here and do hour two on our own. We're going to be accountable to each other, but we need you to go get rest. And I would not have done that. Honestly, I would have pushed through and just made myself do it, even though I was truly exhausted. So I think having a community that supports you and encourages you is so critical, especially right now in this this era where people are lonely. They've talked about loneliness being an epidemic. There is an actual report from the Surgeon General. I just read about this earlier this week that says loneliness is an epidemic, particularly in the US. And so to feel connected and supported by others, for me, it's my pink bubble. It's my group of women in my little academy that I've created for live streaming. But for you, it could be whoever you feel comfortable and confident around, whoever empowers you and makes you feel like you can keep going, but also they tell you when you need to sit down. So that's how I keep going right now.
That's nice to have a community to look out for you. And I have heard uh, say pack animals don't do well by themselves, supposedly. So I can see that, and having a community to tell you how they can help you and what you need, and knowing that they're looking out for you, I think that's amazing. Okay, Zakia, you ready?
Same question.
Yes, same question.
Well, I really love the answers that I've heard so far. And as you all were talking, I started thinking, I don't want to be cliche-ish, but I think goals are very, very fluid. And I think we have to be okay with them being fluid and in the moment. I absolutely love the Alexander Hamilton soundtrack. And there's something that he says on there, and it's what is a legacy? It's planting a seed that you may never get to see. And so when we go live on these live streams, something that Tanya said was, you're impacting people and they're getting a chance to see you in your very raw state. And sometimes being a little, I think there's too transparent in some situations, but honestly, sharing those good days and those bad days is what really helps to solidify the community. And when things go really, really well, I'm excited, but then I always remember when things don't go so well. My other favorite quote came from my daughter. She's 18 and she's a freshman. She just finished her freshman year, which is great. But she said to me one time, and I was like, I gotta get it done. I gotta get it done. I gotta be the first, blah, blah, blah. And she said, do you want to be the first or your best? And that's something that constantly sticks with me whenever things aren't necessarily working the way that I want, because the more that I grow in the business, what I'm learning is it's not about that final destination. Every step along the journey is really getting me ready for the next step. And it's shown itself over and over and over again. So I think being grounded in that, why you're doing it, and then also being honest with the audience that's watching or those that have brought into what it is that you're trying to do really helps you to weather the storms whenever it's positive or negative. So I think those three things kind of stand out. Alexander Hamilton, if you haven't heard the soundtrack, I really recommend that you listen to it. It's very old now, but it's still good. But then my daughter reminding me, it's not necessarily about being the first, but are you doing your best in this moment?
I like that. I had a graphic design teacher who said, if you know how to do something and you know right from wrong, you have to choose to do it right. So, how my take on this is, if I tell you that I'm going to live stream, when I tell you I'm going to live stream, I try my best. Sometimes text gets in the way, but I'm still going to do it because I told you I'm going to do it. It hurts my feelings when I've told anyone I can do something and then don't do it. I feel like I've let them down and therefore I let myself down. It's important for me to keep my word. So for me to know how to do something and to choose to do it right, for me, that's keeping my word. So did you guys know that it is National Small Business Awareness Month? Did you guys know that?
Yeah, and mental health awareness month. I guess it's all in in May. How fitting, because I guess if you're a business owner, you also have to take care of your mental health.
It's true. Well,
But I love
since
what you
this,
just said, Erica. Never break a promise to yourself. That's actually one of the things that I'm always keeping to. And I think that the first person that we need to look at, not to, again, break promises, is ourselves, because our kids see that too, you know? And if my kids see that I can keep a promise that I made to myself, regardless what that might be, and for me, it just means sticking to whatever plan I made for the day, or whatever it is that I want to accomplish, they see that, and it's it's a lesson in resilience. It's a lesson in keeping your word. So many people like forget what giving your word means these days. Like, if I gave my word, that to me is worth gold. And it is what I've all I have. Like, when all my possessions are gone, when everything that I have is gone, the only thing I have left is my word.
yeah, but it's really important to me. Um, I would give my all to a client or someone I'm working with just because I told them that I would do it, and I have the hardest time doing it for myself. And I talked to my husband about it, and he says that's because you love them more than you love yourself. And I was like, no.
It hurts to hear,
Yep.
right? It hurts to hear that. Yeah.
I had the pleasure of working with Zakia Ringo, and she told me that she was on my team. She was my team member, and it hurt her that I didn't give her tasks to do when she knew I needed help. So back to what Tanya said about having a community to have your back. It's like, that's amazing. It's like, not only can I do something because I gave you my word, other people have the ability to do that and use that to help you too. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like a relief.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
empower them and they empower you. I think it's a two-way street.
Yeah. Well, I want people to know if you're a mother, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to live stream, you want to use OneStream Live, we have this code here. It's Mom Streamer, and you get 25% off the standard monthly plan for 2 months maximum, and it's for the top 10 new users. But even though I'm promoting OneStream, I got to tell you, you don't want the standard plan. You want the professional plan, and you want it for a year, and you want to live stream at least a minimum once a week because you're going to use it. That's why I'm telling you to use the professional plan. Yes, you can start off with this discount if you like, but you see us all here. We're all in a community with OneStream Live. We all are on here. I've met Rachel and Anka through OneStream Live community, and they've been on. This is their second time hanging out with me on a live stream. So yay for that. Yay for having a community where you can call on people, reach out to them. It's like, hey, let's get on a live stream. That's the power of community. And you can do that with OneStream Live. But seriously, it is my personal opinion. You want the professional plan and you want a live stream at least once a week, like Tanya did. She picked a day and she went live every week, 52 times. And now her business is around it. So,
I think
yeah,
it's
you can do
important
it.
to mention why you'd might want the pro version, and I think for me the biggest thing is branding. To be able to actually brand your shows to yourself, to make sure that you, when people see that live stream, they know it's yours because it's specifically geared to your own branding, to your colors, to your whatever it is that you know your branding is. Make it be your own, like the same way how you wouldn't wear somebody else's clothes. Like, make it your style and then keep it and stick to it, because that way you become recognizable. I have a specific soundtrack for, like, for example, for my podcast, and a specific look for my website, and the same colors, and that people now they come to recognize that just by hearing. It's like the same way how you hear the Netflix logo. Even if you were asleep, if you heard that sound of Netflix coming on, you know that that's Netflix. So it's the same thing with branding. Like, you need to have the opportunity to brand your streams. And then for anyone that's like afraid of like going live, like, this is scary for someone that hasn't done live streaming. It can be scary. I started with recording my shows and then putting them on on a schedule to go live at a later date, sort of like Rachel was mentioning how she was in two places at once. Technically not, but still it almost like sounded like she was, because she definitely fooled her friend. But the
Yes.
same thing, like in the beginning, I actually, because I had a bit of anxiety, and it had to do with performance anxiety, wanting to be perfect. And yeah, knowing that to be perfect, like especially live, that's kind of like impossible, because there's always going to be something, and they're always going to go back. I would go back and listen to myself. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I have so many filler words. I can't believe all the things, right, that we need to pick about ourselves. Or even like my look, my own, like, oh gosh, I didn't do this, or I didn't do that, or my hair looked this way, or whatever. And having the opportunity to actually record and then stream live the pre-recorded version of what would have been live, it helped me. Now, it doesn't necessarily help with engagement, but it does help to get you started and then build from there if that's your biggest fear.
Yeah.
And can I also add the ease of use with OneStream Live? Because like I said, I started in 2015 and we were on like two cell phones, kind of flipping our phones, trying to show the content. OneStream Live makes it extremely easy to just go to a website. There is nothing to install on your computer. You can have this really nice custom branding with things going across. You can have interviews. So it really does level the playing field in terms of your need for technical knowledge. I mean, there's a bit of a learning curve, but it is really, really simple when you think about when we only had our cell phones as an option. If you have a computer and internet access, what you gotta have well, you don't even have to have just a computer. You can do it mobilely too, can't you?
Yep.
With OneStream, yeah. So you don't even need that. You need an internet connection. And if you're watching us, you've got an internet connection.
And
That
Erica,
makes
can I just
sense.
add one thing that I learned from you
Oh,
from our last, thing that we talked about too is, with OneStream, what I love is you talked to Erica about being omnipresent. And so I really researched that word after we did our last, little thing together. And what I love about OneStream is not only was I in that one group on Facebook, but I was actually able to stream it into 15 groups at the same time. So instead of trying to get people all together where in one group, it doesn't matter. I can go where they are. And that is
yeah.
amazing because we're able to touch so many more lives and share. And I'm not trying to get everybody in one place, in one group, but I can go to my team's group and I'm sharing the same thing, but everybody's watching it where they are and in the platform that they're at. And so that was really big for me, Erica. So thank you so much. And, OneStream allows us to do that, not just to be one place, but be every place.
Yeah. Before I found OneStream, I had just Zoom and Facebook, and Zoom would let me live stream into Facebook. And I had so many people on LinkedIn. I'm like, hey, LinkedIn, come join me on Facebook. I've never been cussed out so many times by people I barely knew. So just stopped asking them to leave their favorite platform and just met them where they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's like maybe they also felt relieved that I wasn't asking them to do something that they really didn't want to do because they did not want to leave LinkedIn for me.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, yeah, and now they don't have to, so it's great.
Yeah. Okay. We're at the top of the hour, but I want to ask you guys one more question. What advice would you give other mothers who are thinking of starting a business or who are struggling to balance their careers and family responsibilities? For me, I'm going to say use that pre-recorded button. Like Rachel said, that way you can do more than one thing. I am a fan of live streaming just because I do use stream as a distribution channel. So not only do I live stream it and distribute it and try my best to be omnipresent, I'm going to repurpose that content and send it out again. And with OneStream, there's a button you can push, so you can send it out multiple times per day if you wanted to, or you can have a repeat button. So every time it goes live, you can say it can repeat on itself after it finishes. And I love stuff like that. That way, I can be live all day if I wanted to, or set up 40 clips if I wanted to, and go do anything else I wanted. So, how do you guys answer this question?
I
I'll go
would
ahead and
say,
share
oh,
real quick.
go ahead, Rachel.
Then I
It's
can be
like,
done. But I just want to say, if you're thinking first of all about starting any kind of a business or doing something, I just want to tell you, don't let fear hold you back. From trying something, whether it's one stream, or maybe you've got a calling on your heart that you've been wanting to start a business, or you've been wanting to do something different and make a shift. I just want to tell you, go for it, because we don't want to look back and think, I wish I would have done that, or I wish I would have tried that. And one stream, they're there to help you, so they have people that can walk you through, so you're never going to be alone when you're trying that. And just jump in and try it, because um you don't want to go back and have those regrets. And that dream was placed in your heart for a reason, and it may be for you, and it's probably going to be for all the people that you're going to touch with what you have to offer. Because when you have a business and you're in a platform, with one stream or whatever, you may be, whatever business it is, you are going to reach out and touch a lot of lives. And you're going to impact the world and other people for good. So just jump in and do it. Don't be afraid, and know that we're here cheering you on.
yeah.
I was
Zakia?
gonna, yeah. So I would say, because I know a lot of people are nervous about, well, what are their kids going to do when they're on camera? Embrace it. Embrace it. That makes you more human, more likable. Don't have them throwing spaghetti at you while you're live streaming. But I would say, my daughter started when Paige was 1 and Nyla was 10. They now have their own hashtag. Where's Paige? Where's Nyla? Involve your kids in your streams if it makes sense for what you're doing. A lot of times, like, oh, I'll wait until they go to bed, I'll wait until they're away at school. But if it makes sense for what you're doing, they can also become a part of the brand that you are building. So I don't know if you remember, right when the pandemic started, there was this TV reporter, and this kid came in on the walker, and then the nanny came in running behind it, and that made him so much more human. Don't worry about being perfect. Don't worry about the sound or necessarily what it looks like. Show up as you authentically, and the people that you need to connect, or the ones that you want to connect with, are going to find you.
Makes sense. I do wait for my kids to be at work to go live.
I might bribe mine as well when it's time to go live and be like, if you're good, you're gonna get some brownie points, whatever that is. I know what they're into, so I play into those things. I think what I would say is, believe in yourself and stay consistent. Now, my business might look different than, say, Rachel's or Zakia's or Tanya's, and we all make it be our own thing based on our own personality, but also based on the fact that we show up authentically as who we are. And I'm a big, big advocate for showing up with courage, but not just to be there, but because you know that you have something to say. You're confident, you're competent, and you're gonna deliver the message, even if it's not necessarily perfect. And let me tell you, I am a perfectionist, and I do struggle with that. But I do have to remind myself that if I am to be authentic and I am to be vulnerable, then I also have to embrace the parts of myself that are not perfect. And as far as I know, there's plenty of parts of myself that are not perfect. So just be having that courage and be okay with it and show up. That's the best thing you can do for yourself. Because as we were talking about legacy is a big thing. Okay. It's something that keeps me up at night. What is the type of legacy that I leave behind? And most of the time, probably it's going to be your immediate family that is going to be benefiting from that legacy that you're building. So keep them involved, bring them in, as it was already mentioned, and make it be the best thing that you can do for yourself without fearing like, but what if it's not perfect now? What if it's not good enough? Um, and shut down the noise. I mean, there's going to be a lot of naysayers out there. we don't have to carry those burdens. Like Tanya, you said that. I love that. I loved how you mentioned how we don't have to take on somebody else's problems and whatever it is they're projecting, just because it's their own insecurities playing into their narrative.
True. Uh, Tanya, how do you want to answer this question? What advice would you give to mothers who are thinking of starting a business or who are struggling to balance their careers and family responsibilities?
Whew. So you've already heard some really amazing advice and all of those things. Once again, like this is my new tribe right here. Like, yo, we're all on the same page with this thing. But maybe it's because we all have made that decision to go forward and to do live streaming. And so in some ways we have some similar experiences for sure. I think that if you're considering any type of exploration of visual media or even audio media for podcasting, whatever you're deciding you want to do, know that it is a destination, or not a destination, it's a journey, right? It's not this one stop place where you say, okay, now I have confidence and now I can move. It is a constant step by step. There are going to be some days where you're going to say, you know what, I give up. One of the things that I found myself doing, the whole hair thing again, that's a whole thing, y'all. That's a whole story. But I found myself saying to myself, what are the things that are keeping me from doing what I said I was going to do? And then what are the solutions I can put in place? So now I keep a baseball cap under here. Right? If I find myself feeling like I'm not enough in some way, what are those things that you can put in place for yourself to be able to move forward and move past those sometimes self imposed limiting beliefs that we have? But the other thing again is experimentation. And when I say experiment, I mean you're going to have to experiment with some platforms. You're going to have to experiment on which space you want to actually play. Do you want to do it on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn? Where do you want to be? You're going to experiment with your audience. You're going to experiment with your topics. Because just because we're moms, because we are moms, actually, we have a wide breadth of knowledge and abilities and skills and interests and passions and things that we love and that we enjoy. So it doesn't have to be just your mom role that you put on, but you can put on that travel blogger role if you're able to do that. You can put on whatever the hat is that you want to wear with your streams. Experiment with that and find that place that makes you happy and joyful and build around that. Build your space around that. I think too many times we see these cookie cutter people that say, hey, well, if you do it this way, then it's going to be working. and that doesn't work for you. So find your path, create your path. And sure, you're going to watch other people like the streamers, the ladies that are here. You're going to watch and you're going to see what you love and the things that you don't. And take away from those lessons and create something that is all your own. So that's my advice. I'm sticking with it.
I like that. Create something that's all your own. That's really nice. Because I do watch other people on YouTube and like, should I be doing that? I could mind my own business and my business would grow as possible. Well, ladies, I've held you here for an hour, and I really do appreciate you spending your time and knowledge with me. So before we go, one more time, could you let everybody know what you do and where people can find you? Like, tell them your favorite social media hangout spot. Who wants to go first? Oh, Tanya, since you went last, you should go first then. How about that?
It sounds
Okay.
like everybody's so shy. Okay, Tanya, go. Let's break the silence.
All right. Not shy. I just felt like, hey, I just talked. So let me give someone else the mic. Right. I, again, am Tanya Smith. It has been a pleasure, such a pleasure meeting all of you ladies here. You're incredible women. And look, for those of you who are watching out there, just like I think Rachel mentioned this at the very beginning, whether you are a mom by by destiny, or you're a mom out of opportunity, or whatever the mom situation is that you're in. If you're a nurturer, our hats off to you. And I hope that you have a blessed and very relaxing, or whatever you want to do. Maybe it's action filled weekend, Anka, who's going to be running a half marathon. But I am at Get Noticed with Video. GetNoticedWithVideo.com is my main website. You can also find me at streamlikeaboss.tv, and all my socials will be on that page. I go live each and every week, typically on Thursdays, talking about how to leverage live stream marketing to grow your brand online. And sometimes I have guests. Next week, we'll have a guest who's talking about security, making sure that you lock down your video content and social media content, and how to make sure other people aren't able to hack into those spaces, because that's a real thing happening right now. So feel free to follow. I invite you all to connect. However I can help and serve, I'm ready to do that. So thank you. I'll switch it off to whoever is next.
How about
And you know what? My sound kind of went out for a minute. So will you tell me the question? It kind of there's all of a sudden there's a huge like windstorm, and I don't know if it's messing up with my Wi-Fi a little bit. That's how Idaho is. It's always windy here.
Oh, I want you to tell people what you do and your favorite social media hangout spot so we can find you later.
Oh, awesome. Okay, yay. I'm glad I came back for that. And I just want to tell these ladies how much I've loved being here. It's so fun to get to know them and learn from them. And so I am in Mary Kay. And so I am in the beauty industry, and I just love helping women feel amazing on the outside and on the inside with this opportunity. So you can find me at Rachel Hall on Facebook. You can follow me there, and I can connect you into my beauty box for all my VIP customers. So find me there, and Rachel Beauty Biz on Instagram, and I'm also on LinkedIn under Rachel Hall. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Rachel. Okay, Zakia, you're.
Alrighty. So first of all, Erica, thank you so much. You always have the most amazing people surrounding you. So it was great getting to hear their stories. I connected with everyone I can on LinkedIn. I'm going to go find Rachel on Facebook and Instagram. But my name, Zakia Ringgold. I am Zakia Ringgold on all of the platforms, whether that be LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. I am definitely available to help you learn how to make and sell soap. That's the big key factor and differentiator in what it is that I do. And then if you are a woman trying to figure out this technology for growing your business online, I will be launching Business Tech Lab. You can go there today and get on the wait list. We will be having a very special launch party. So if you go there, you can enter your email address, and then you will be notified the moment we go live. But thank you, Erica, so very much for the opportunity, and OneStream for the amazing platform. And happy Mother's Day to all of the mamas out there.
Zakia. Okay, Anka, you ready?
Thank you. I mean, this was amazing. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I feel like definitely lots of takeaways today. And as far as my playgrounds, I have quite a few because I do a lot of things. And if you want to connect with me, fun underscore events, and it's TREFAN underscore events is where my production agency lives on Instagram, also on all the other social platforms. And then my fitness and mental fitness journey is at fitness.inbf, and INBF is actually the Natural Bodybuilding Federation that I'm part of. And then if you want to connect with me on my podcast team produces a lot of other podcasts, not just this one podcast. That's Events Demystified podcast on Instagram and on LinkedIn. Have not gotten to Facebook with the podcast, but I'm on YouTube. So those are the two places, and I look forward to connect with all of you ladies here. And for anyone that would like to connect with me, follow those, and let's play.
All right. Well, thank you, Anka. So I am Erica Bates. I am a OneStream Live ambassador. You can find me on Tuesdays, 10 a.m. Eastern Time with Erica Bates with OneStream Live. You can find me on LinkedIn at Erica Bates, Virtual Summit Strategist, and you can find me on YouTube under Talk Virtual. So if you like more content about live streaming or hosting virtual events, pick me. So, ladies, I want to say thank you again for joining us. I appreciate you all being here with me. I've learned a lot. You guys are amazing and definitely worth following so I can get more content and more of your brilliance because I like hanging around brilliant people. I feel like it makes you smarter. Okay, ladies, thank you for your time. I really do appreciate you being here.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
Erica.
Erica.